Blockchain is extremely transparent. In fact, this is the most transparent platform. So once we have the blockchain up and running, it becomes a very seamless process for the regulator to see what is going on. The regulator doesn't even need to ask for reports because everything is transparent on the blockchain, every transaction.
The Association of Investment Advisors and Portfolio Managers, IAPM, hosted its 2026 conference, which discussed the theme, Fostering Enduring Operating Environments for Digital Assets, Trading and Investments, Regulators and Operators' Perspectives. It was an opportunity for market operators, stakeholders, and regulators to explore viable ways Nigeria can unlock value from the digital asset market. The President and Chairman of Council IAPM, Mr. Yusufu Modibo, the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Dr. Momotimi Agama, represented by Deputy Director, Lagos Zonal Office, Mr. John Briggs, and the Chairman of the Nigeria Exchange Group, Alhaji Dr. Umaru Kwaranga, in their separate remarks highlighted the significance of the digital asset market and how the investment advisors and portfolio managers should align and deepen the capital markets.
The theme of the conference is Fostering Enduring Operating Environment and Digital Assets Trading and Investment, Regulators / Operators Perspective. So the association, which was founded in 1981, has grown to a body of investment and financial professionals at the forefront of the vanguard to champion global best practices and discipline and entrenching professionalism in the practice of investment management and financial advisory in Nigerian financial system. Number 7 is to carry on all relevant functions in the financial industry to ensure adequate protection of investor clients and their hard-earned monies. These past years has witnessed remarkable developments and tremendous progress in pursuance of the above objectives.
We at the SEC recognize digital asset as an asset class with strong potential to contribute to capital market development. Our approach has been deliberate and balanced, while supporting innovation on one hand and also ensuring that market integrity, investor protection, and systemic stability are not compromised. Fostering an enduring operating environment requires a shared commitment between regulators and market operators. From the regulatory perspective, our responsibility is to establish clear rules, adopt risk-based supervision, and remain adaptive to technological advancement. Regulation today must not stifle innovation. Rather, it should create guide rails that enables responsible growth.
These are exciting times for the entire Nigerian capital market ecosystem. Our recent policy decisions and strategic positioning by the government, market regulators, and operators has reignited confidence in the Nigerian economy in general and the capital market in particular, that led to a bullish trend in the capital market that is now in its 3rd year. Even in this conference, I can see from the smiling faces and rosy cheeks that the business of investment advisory and portfolio management has not been left out of the ongoing boom. It is a good time for all of us, but we must also be wary of possible risks at such times. It is easy for investors to get carried away when financial assets keep increasing in value and believe that there are no downside risks. It is more common at this kind of time for companies and individuals to market dubious investment, believing that they can sell anything to enthusiastic investors. It is also likely that there will be an increase in the number of unqualified individuals and courts masquerading as professional advisors. Your role as investment advisors and portfolio management remain central to the integrity, efficiency, and growth of the Nigerian capital market.
Dr. Nicky Okoye, founder and president, Global Investment Advisory Community, in his presentation as a guest speaker, charted a pathway for Nigeria to leverage digital assets, trading, and investments to achieve national development and a robust capital market ecosystem.
What is the future of the digital asset market as far as Nigeria is concerned? We believe the future is one, security tokens, currently not yet material. However, the regulatory framework currently exists with ISA 2025. So we expect some meaningful issuances going forward. Some of you might be those trailblazers, you know? Then real-world asset tokens. Early pilot stages are under consideration. We expect that in 2026, we should have a few pilot projects on real-world asset tokens. Some of the members of the GIA are already considering tokenization of real-world assets. So we're looking at it already. When we're ready, we will go and apply and do the white paper that will be submitted to SEC. But the underground work is already going on. So then you have DeFi tokens. Are you familiar with DeFi? If you are, say aye. Okay, so not a lot of folks are familiar. DeFi is simply decentralized finance. Decentralized finance is a new form of finance which has risen with the digital asset markets, whereby you want to fund a project or an opportunity, and you allow investors to buy tokens in that project. So you are cutting out the traditional financial institution, which is the bank. So you not necessarily go to a bank for a loan. If you have a DeFi platform and you put forward the projects that requires funding, investors come in and buy the DeFi tokens and the project gets funded. It's new, but it's growing across Europe. And then, of course, NFTs, they are present, but currently very negligible as far as Nigerian investors are concerned. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what the market looks like going forward. We believe that asset and wealth management industry projection, about $50 billion. It will grow earnings of at least $500 million. This is earnings that can come to your firms. And over the next 10 years, it should hit at least $1 trillion. And we're just talking about Nigeria and African markets, okay? On the tokenization advisory, so if you're advising those who have assets that need to be tokenized, our estimation for the market size is about 150 billion over the next 2 to 3 years. The earnings, they're about 5 billion, and over the next 10 years, it's going to grow to a $5 trillion marketplace. So, to look at the perspectives, we mentioned 6. Wealth creation and the future. Job creation. So, what I'm saying basically is that you're not just doing tokenization or digital asset market strategy for the sake of it. It has to be driven by a perspective, right? What is your goal? And I think our goal as a nation should be wealth creation. Our goal should also be job creation. But we have other goals. National development is a major goal because look at your GDP, for instance. Everybody in the world measures a nation's activity, economic activity, viability by GDP, right? Or they measure GDP per capita. With Nigeria, they say we're $344 billion. But is that truly our potential? It's not. Because it totally ignores our asset base. Our national wealth is not calculated. What is calculated is our transactions. GDP is the total sum of all financial transactions in any given year. But national wealth, our assets are not calculated. The oil under the ground alone, we've done the calculation, represents $5 to $6 trillion in assets. If you tokenize that, that hits the Nigerian balance sheet. And that's just one commodity. So what we are saying is that tokenization can revolutionize national development. not just for Nigeria, but for Africa as a whole. Then investor protection, investment aggregation, and then personal wealth maps. So these are the 6 perspectives, if you will, and I just used the second slide to drive down a bit, what am I saying? Wealth creation, who are the sponsors and who will drive wealth creation? There's a role for the regulator, there's a role for national and subnational authorities, and then we must define what are our wealth goals and so on. For job creation, when we are aggregating money, we're building investments, basically what we are doing is creating opportunities for new jobs and well-paying jobs, right? And then for national development, I've just told you about how national development can be affected through digital asset strategy. Investor protection, again, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the regulator, is very concerned about that. But what does digital asset do? Blockchain is extremely transparent. In fact, this is the most transparent platform. So once we have the blockchain up and running, it becomes a very seamless process for the regulator to see what is going on. The regulator doesn't even need to ask for reports because everything is transparent on the blockchain, every transaction. So when you hear people thinking that they're hiding behind digital assets or they're using it for money laundering, it's actually not correct. The only way you can hide is if your wallet is not registered. So you're using an anonymous wallet, okay? But once wallets are registered to the individual, which is the KYC rules that all the regulators demand, it becomes a very transparent marketplace.
The event featured a panel session moderated by Mr. Teslim Shitabe, Director of Research, ProShare.
The SEC's 2025 regulatory framework for digital assets is known to only 53% of market participants surveyed by ProShare. Operator configuration for SEC-approved digital assets stands at 18.18%. What specific enforcement or communication milestones does the Commission have in place for the next 12 months to close both the awareness gap and the operator readiness gap?
So what are we doing in the next 12 months? Enforcement. Because it's obvious that people don't want to comply. The easiest thing to do is non-compliance. But with the ISA, if you don't comply, the implications are huge. Apart from huge penalty, there is also a likely jail term for those who want to carry on illegal activities in the market.
It featured the formal induction of new fellows and associates of the IAPM. Some of the speakers at the conference and the presidents of the IAPM provide further insights and expectations of building a vibrant Nigerian digital asset market.
Normally informs any theme for our past conferences and also this one is what are the matters of the moment in the market. So this time around, we felt digital assets are becoming at the forefront of boosting and improving the market capitalization of the market. More so, the law has now allowed digital assets to be part and parcel of our capital market system. Therefore, we have deliberately chosen that topic so that we can also add to, we can make our own contribution towards seeing that the law is exploited to the benefit of the people of Nigeria and also other investors, even if they are not Nigerians.
And the regulators have taken the step in the right direction by putting together a recognition under the ISA 2025, and 2, the rules which they have created to midwife it. Also importantly is the accelerator regulatory incubation program, which has been put in place to ensure that everyone who is a digital or virtual asset provider will be able to first and foremost create a controlled environment where you can observe what they are doing, meet with their requirement before you can get full registration, right? Now, those steps have been taken. The part where we are not looking is because this is virtual, this is digital. Interface plays a very important role in digital transformation. The seamlessness of digital is the driving force. So the regulatory bottleneck, which is coming from complex disclosures, KYC onboarding, compliance regulatory, we must find a seamlessness so that we don't have a user-friendly interface versus a regulatory compliance that is obsolete. But once we have a user-friendly interface that enables regulatory compliance, then we are at a place where Nigeria can explode. And by the way, just to let you know, the peer-to-peer digital market is already running. We need to bring it to the surface so that everyone can benefit from it and the economy can actually reflect the goal which it has.
In my opinion, the digital asset markets has the greatest potential, not just to enhance the value for investors, and these are both individual and institutional investors, but more importantly for national development. You can actually use digital assets like tokens, tokenization, to actually raise fund for capital projects. And it's already happening internationally. It just means we need to have the framework in place. We already have the regulation. We just need the technology and the platforms. And once we're able to achieve that, then we're off to the races in terms of taking advantage of the opportunities that digital asset markets provides us as a nation. And from an investment standpoint, it automatically gives you an opportunity to save properly, to enhance wealth creation. There's a lot of young folks that have embraced this marketplace. Nigeria has 25.9 million digital asset investors already, mostly Gen Z investors. And so we know that they're already investing. So what we need to do is to figure out how to get them to invest in digital assets that are Nigerian assets, because a lot of those assets that they're currently invested in are international assets. So we need some of that investment to replicate and to mirror what's going on in local environments so that opportunities can be enhanced, jobs can be created, and national development can be promoted.
With the reports from the Securities and Exchange Commission that transactions in cryptocurrency hit $50 billion in Nigeria for the year 2025, and 25.9 million Nigerians are investing in digital assets according to the Global Investment Advisory Community, Nigeria has a great chance to leverage the digital asset market to achieve financial inclusion, unlock value from its assets, create wealth and jobs, accelerate national development, strengthen investor protection and investment aggregation through the alignment of policies and regulations, as well as increased awareness through investor education.